Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari Bahrain race simulation has quietly become one of the most talked about talking points in the F1 paddock this week. While headline lap times always grab attention, it's the long-run data that really tells the story, and Hamilton's numbers in the Ferrari are raising serious eyebrows. During the Bahrain running, Ferrari focused heavily on race simulation programs rather than chasing single-lap glory. That's important, because a race simulation reveals tyre management, fuel load consistency, degradation control, and overall balance across a full stint. According to the timing data available from the session, Hamilton's lap averages were not only competitive, they were remarkably stable. What stood out most was the consistency window. Across a long stint on comparable tyre compounds, the variation between his fastest and slowest laps was minimal. That suggests two key things. First, the car is mechanically stable. Second, Hamilton is already comfortable enough with the platform to push without overdriving it. For a driver adapting to a new team environment, that's significant. Ferrari's 2026 spec development direction appears to prioritize rear stability and improved energy deployment efficiency. In Bahrain's conditions, high track temperatures, abrasive surface, heavy traction zones, that combination becomes a real stress test. Hamilton's data showed controlled rear tire wear, especially through the final sector where traction and battery deployment timing are crucial. Another major factor is energy recovery and hybrid deployment. The 2026 regulations place greater emphasis on electrical output, and simulation work in Bahrain often includes testing deployment maps over extended runs. Hamilton's lap trace patterns suggest smooth deployment rather than aggressive spikes. That usually translates into stronger race pace rather than headline qualifying performance. What makes this simulation particularly interesting is the comparison to rival long runs. While exact fuel loads are never public, the relative drop-off curves indicate that Ferrari's degradation slope was flatter than some competitors over a similar lap count. In simple terms, the car maintained its pace deeper into the stint. Bahrain's layout exaggerates weaknesses. Turn 10 braking stability, rear traction out of turn 1, and high speed balance through the final corners expose instability quickly. Hamilton's onboard behavior showed minimal mid-corner corrections, meaning the car isn't fighting him through transitions. That's a positive sign for race consistency. It's also worth noting that Ferrari didn't run an aggressive, low-fuel headline time during that phase. The focus remained on controlled program execution. That approach suggests confidence. Teams usually hide race pace only if they believe it's strong enough to matter. From a driver perspective, adaptation is key. Switching teams means learning new steering feedback, brake-by-wire behavior, hybrid harvesting feel, and communication style. In Bahrain, Hamilton's radio exchanges were calm and data-focused, not reactive. That often reflects a driver who understands what the car is doing rather than guessing. Tyre phase management was another standout. Early in the stint, lap times were conservative, building temperature progressively. Mid-stint, the pace stabilized within a narrow margin. Late stint drop-off was controlled rather than dramatic. That pattern mirrors championship-style race execution, managing peaks instead of chasing single laps. The broader implication is strategic flexibility. If Ferrari can maintain consistent long-run speed, they gain more options on race day undercut attempts, extended stints, or defensive track positioning. Strong simulation pace doesn't guarantee victory, but it expands the playbook. There's also the psychological dimension. Even without official statements, rival engineers study sector times carefully. Consistency tends to worry competitors more than one fast lap. A car that behaves predictably over 15+ laps is usually a car that can win under pressure. Of course, testing conditions vary, fuel loads differ, engine modes change, and track evolution plays a role. It's important not to overstate one simulation run. However, patterns across multiple stints begin to reveal underlying performance trends, and Ferrari's long-run rhythm in Bahrain suggests a solid foundation. For Hamilton personally, this simulation signals growing integration with the Ferrari package. Smooth inputs, stable lap curves, and measured radio communication indicate comfort. That comfort typically translates into racecraft execution once the season begins. The real question now is development trajectory. Bahrain simulations show baseline potential, but upgrades and refinement determine competitiveness over a season. If Ferrari can maintain this stability while unlocking more peak performance, they become a consistent front-running threat. In summary, the Bahrain race simulation wasn't about flashy headlines. It was about structure, rhythm, and control. Hamilton's long-run data demonstrated stability, efficient tyre usage, and disciplined energy management. In modern Formula One, those traits win championships more often than dramatic qualifying laps. The next rounds of testing and early race weekends will confirm whether this pace translates under full competitive conditions. But based purely on simulation metrics, Ferrari and Hamilton appear aligned on one crucial metric: sustainable race speed. If that trend continues, Bahrain may be remembered as the first clear indicator that this partnership is not just symbolic, it's strategically competitive.